sunglasses.
Yeah.
I feel like such a teacher. Like, I feel like I'm like a supervisor about to give you guys a lesson on something. We're using this clipboard because we're very professional. How are you guys?
Good.
Welcome to VIP.
Yay!
Welcome to VIP. You submitted questions. We read through them. Not all of you get to have your question answered. I know. Good news is that some of you will. We're just going to do it on Substack, which is this mailing or blog thing we do. And if you aren't following us, you should. You get lots of cool stuff. Sarah, I don't understand your system here. Check marks mean read the question?
Yeah, those are ones that I thought would be appropriate for this space and time.
I see. Okay. Steven, you said my first concert was in 2009 Town Hall and it was magical. This is my daughter's 5th time seeing you. How are the old band members doing from the States? And will you ever tour with them again? That is a great question. I have not seen these questions, so I'm going to be reading them completely. This is fresh.
Okay, this is actually very interesting because that's from Sainthood era, and right before the pandemic, I moved to a new house in North Vancouver, and I just completely randomly, I did not know this when I purchased the house, but I lived 1 minute from Sean Huberts, who played bass on Sainthood, and he and I hung out all the time, Stephen. We just used to get drunk and eat chips during the pandemic. We were kind of in each other's bubble.
Even I went and got drunk and ate chips with him during the pandemic.
He was back in the bubble, but we hadn't spent a ton of time since Sainthood, but there you go. One positive thing that happened because of the pandemic.
Ted, who played with us for like 11 years, he's out on tour with Poppy.
And they're out supporting Smashing Pumpkins right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Poppy.
So he's doing great.
Flourishing. Okay, Stephanie, you asked, do Mickey and Holiday, those are Sarah's cats, do they get along with Sid? And Sid is Sarah and her partner Stacy's new baby.
And the answer is that the cats are indifferent to whatever Sid is, and Sid has no idea what's happening yet. So we don't know. The cats haven't hurt him or attacked him or peed on him or peed on any of his things, which was a concern of mine, and that has not happened.
Okay, good answer. All right, Sarah McNair, you asked if we were the narrators on Drunk History, what story we would tell. We basically, well, you have a funny one, right? Didn't you one time try to explain the Bible drunk?
I didn't try to explain the Bible. We did one time, there was a few of us trying to understand Jesus, God, and the Holy Ghost.
Oh, right, yeah. It was pretty funny, and we made the joke for a while.
I don't think that would be my choice
for Drunk History. I think it'd be funny to try to tell our own story on Drunk History, but that's not.
I mean, pretty much anytime Tegan and I are drinking, we try to tell long-winded stories, and it's basically like Drunk History all the time. So,
like, the last time I got really drunk was our 40th birthday, and I talked about my favorite stuffed animal apparently 3 different times, but I had no recollection of it.
Yeah, that was blackout drunk, is what she wasn't.
That was
really
the pot. It was the pot. Okay, it's, I think going well. Jonathan, you asked, you say you're a huge fan, and, okay, hold on, this is a long one. Yes. How has your creative process evolved since the days of the con and Sainthood? It's a good question. I mean, you know, our process has actually pretty much stayed the same. When we were 21 or 22 years old, we went and bought a computer with a program called Pro Tools on it, and we started demoing our songs. And we did that, and I think that's when our real sound started to take shape, because Sarah and I, we didn't just like record ourselves singing and playing guitar. We tracked vocals and guitars and keyboard parts and background vocals, and we would send the songs back and forth to each other and edit them and make changes. And so that still remains our process. We write the majority of our music separately, and then we send it back and forth, and we just kind of add and tweak. And then when we go into the studio, we use that as sort of the foundation to build from. I think Crybaby differs in the sense that, like, our newest record, we had a lot more time, because I don't know if you guys know, there was a pandemic, so we were off the road for a while. And so we were at home, and Sarah would just re-record my songs and sing them herself. And so the songs really like changed a lot more than usual. So I feel like Crybaby is definitely, it's different in that sense. It feels more collaborative, I think.
It's a very involved answer.
Well,
no, I'm saying like it's a very involved answer.
Okay. Awkward. Ashley, she wanted to say, your performance on Jimmy Fallon was fun to watch. I loved your outfits. Does preparing to perform on television feel any different from preparing to perform for your shows on tour? That's a good question. Sarah, do you have a very, very short brief answer?
Yes. It is very different, actually. There's a little bit more thought that goes into it because the TV stuff, objectively, one would think that the performance would live on in whatever kind of way it could live on the internet, and so people might be searching it. Like, for example, I recently went back and watched our first TV appearance on David Letterman from like 23 years ago, and I was like, yeah, right, like, I mean, that DC shirt that I wore and that Tim Hortons t-shirt that Tegan wore, that was a choice. And now anytime anyone like Googles us on late night TV, they're gonna be like, okay, so that was the choices that they made. So I definitely think about it, whereas like on stage, it's a little more forgiving if you wear something goofy.
It's a good answer. Long.
I actually thought the t-shirts, the Tim Hortons t-shirt and the DC shirt were cool. Mostly what I am surprised and shocked about is that why we didn't get some kind of endorsement deal.
At a different time, there was nowhere to go viral. Like, how would have Tim Hortons even known that we wore the shirt?
Well, someone from Tim Hortons could have been watching because people used to really watch David Letterman.
I guess so. Question mark. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Okay, Priscilla wants to know how touring being a dog owner is going. Yeah, I have a dog. Her name is Georgia. We've been gone about 3 weeks, and since I've been gone, she got stung by a wasp and her face blew up, and she had to go to the emergency.
No.
Now she has a severe bacterial infection in between the pads of her back feet and is in those booties and can't walk. And last night, I found out that she has a lump in her ear, and so they're gonna have to remove it and biopsy it. So I think it's been kind of stressful. But way more stressful for my partner than me. But they seem in good spirits. They were cuddling on the couch, the fireplace was going. Nothing has really happened to her, and then I went away and all that happened. So, but I am a fairly compartmentalized person, so I'm doing fine. Dana asks on behalf of... Dana wants to know, her daughter wants to know, how do you... There's a glare, I can read, I promise. My daughter wants to know, how do you come up with your songs?
Honestly, the songs really just sort of appear when we're working on them. I mean, from life, just like, they're just there. You just sit down and you're like, I guess I'll write something, and then you just start thinking about the things that happened in your life, I guess.
I like it. Sarah Iverson wanted to know, how do you balance integrating existing trends in the music industry into your sound and staying true to what makes you Tegan and Sara?
I mean, I do everything in my power not to think about that. Mostly because I don't necessarily have like a strategy about how to copy things that are popular. And I've also felt like one of the things that makes Tegan and Sara very unique is that we are often not on trend. I don't know how to say it any other way. I think there's something very cool about being off trend, or even trending down. Just gives you a way to trend back up. There's nothing worse than just trending up at a high-speed pace, because then it's like, oh God, what's gonna happen? So I feel like just forego trending in general is sort of our mission.
You heard it here first. I don't know if it's Mena or Mina. Mena asked what tools and techniques that we acquired from writing pop music aided while we were writing a punk album. I love that you're calling Cry Baby a punk album. It's so interesting. I mean, I think that every time we do anything, it aids in whatever we do next. Sara and I like to dismantle and destroy everything that we make and then start fresh. And so I think with Cry Baby, we were sort of pulling from early Tegan and Sara, but also the pop years for sure. I mean, we still wanted to make a commercial record and we still wanted it to be poppy. I think we write hooky songs, but we also were like just interested in making something we liked, and we didn't want to try to, like, further to what Sara was saying, we clearly know what's popular right now and clearly didn't go in the studio and try to make a record like that. And partly it's because we did that and it was really fun, and then it was also very tiring. And We
It turns out being popular is actually way more exhausting than being unpopular.
it's totally.
It really is.
Well, maybe it's not unpopular, but I just think like we wanted to make a record that was fun to play on stage. We just wanted to hang out and play shows, and we wanted to make a record that felt really fun live. And I don't know. I think we just had like a lot to say, and it's a very like wordy record because we talk a lot.
These are wordy answers from you today as well. On trend. Trending.
Look, he's
Kind.
talking.
Okay, Stevie wants to know how would you just describe our music to someone who has never heard it before? That's funny.
If I meet
Pretend you're on
if
a
I meet a
plane.
complete stranger and they say, "What do you do?" Okay, like for example, in an Uber or on an airplane or at a wedding. If someone
Go to
asks
a
me,
lot of weddings, do you?
yeah, if someone asks me what I do and I tell them I play music and I'm fairly certain that they have children but have never heard of us, I will reference the Lego movie and everything is awesome. If they're like a man and of a certain age, I will reference the White Stripes via Walking with a Ghost. If I meet anyone else, I mostly just say things like, "Oh, you've never heard of it." It's just a very small band. You've probably never heard of us. That's what I say. That's how I describe our band.
Love that.
Yeah. Or sometimes if I really like, if I want to be cheeky, I'll like say, "Let me look at your Spotify," and then I'll follow us, like I'll heart us on your Spotify.
Kurt wanted to know what were the benefits, if any, of not being able to tour for so long. There were so many benefits to not touring. But it was hard. We liked to tour. We loved playing music.
But it was so restful.
It was very restful. It was incredible. I mean, I think it like people don't even know because you just worry about the band that's coming to your town. But like there were years like the first year when we put out Heartthrob, we were working for 285 days that year. And like those are days that you don't, you're not at home, you don't get to be with your partner or your animals, your family, your friends, and like it just the fatigue kind of builds up on you like a soap scum. And then you get home and you try to wash it off, but then like 2 weeks later you have to go back out on tour, and so it's like you never really get the soap scum off. But then like the pandemic happened and it was like bleached the whole thing, it was just like really clean. And we were rested and we were creative, and then we were very bored, and that's why we're here. Okay, well, I think we should play some songs.
Yeah.
There's still like a lot of questions, but I think we just should get to some of these.
There's some really great questions.
There's some good ones
Don't
I
take
really
it personally.
wanna
We just
dig
picked a few
into.
because we did want to play music as well. So,
Yeah.
what are you going to play today?
I don't know.
Play Don't Confess.
Superstar.
I could try Don't Confess.